Hello BookTube, hello book friends, welcome back to my channel and another tag video, and this time I'm going to try and tackle the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy book tag. This was created by Gareth at Book Songs and Other Magic, and I was tagged by Gareth. Basically, Gareth's live show, which he does with Dave from Book Blather, is coming up to its 42nd episode, and as you probably know, the number 42 has some significance within the 5 books that make up the trilogy of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So he has devised this book tag around the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So there are 8 prompts and a tag other people prompt, so we're going to give it a go. So question number 1, demolishing your house, what book would you look for first to save from the demolition? All of them. I think it's a really hard one. I think ultimately, when you think about it, there are many things that are more valuable, people, pets, etc. And I really struggled to whittle it down to one book, but I did. And book I've mentioned on the channel before, and the reason I picked this one is, well, 2 reasons. It has a very special place in my heart, and also I never see it anywhere secondhand, or I've not looked hard, but if I go in a secondhand bookshop, I just don't see copies of it. So I think it's maybe quite a scarce book. I don't know. There might be hundreds and thousands of copies out there in every charity shop, and I just, every time I've gone in, I've not been there. But it is The Darkness is Light Enough by Chris Ferris, which is a diary of her time nighttime badger watching, and other animals, foxes, and so on, but predominantly badgers, near her home, and all of the stories of how basically the badgers came to accept her being there, not necessarily allowing her into, they allowed her to basically follow them around and so on. They realized they didn't have anything to fear from her, but they were still wary to a degree. So yeah, that is the book that I would save if my house was going to be demolished, although, as I said, I'd like to save more than one. Number 2, Vogon Poetry. Quote a poet, a line of poetry, or a lyric that you love. If you've watched the channel for a while, you know I have a love of conflict poetry, war poetry. And I was going to read something from Siegfried Sassoon, given that he is probably one of the most well-known war poets, primarily because everybody who goes to school in this country studies Siegfried Sassoon. I think they still do. But I thought instead I would read a poem by a female war poet who is Marian Allen. She wrote, I think, one collected volume of poetry, which features a number of poems. She had a fiance who was a pilot in the First World War, and who was sadly killed. And this poem relates to the loss of her fiance, and it's called The Wind on the Downs. I like to think of you as brown and tall, as strong and living as you used to be, in khaki tunic, Sam Brown belt and all, and standing there and laughing down at me. Because they tell me, dear, that you are dead, because I can no longer see your face. You have not died, it is not true. Instead, you seek adventure in some other place. That you are round about me, I believe. I hear you laughing as you used to do, yet loving all the things I think of you, and knowing you are happy should I grieve. You follow and are watchful where I go. How should you leave me, having loved me so? We walked along the towpath, you and I. Beside the sluggish, moving, still canal, it seemed impossible that you should die. I think of you the same and always shall. We thought of many things and spoke of few, and life lay all uncertainly before, and now I walk alone and think of you and wonder what new kingdoms you explore. Over the railway line, across the grass, while up above the golden wings are spread, flying, ever flying overhead, here still I see your khaki figure pass, and when I leave the meadow, almost wait that you should open first the wooden gate. Prompt number 3. 42. The answer to life, the universe, and everything. What is the point? What is the meaning of life? I think it's interesting that that came immediately after I've read a war poem. Gareth, I think, gave a really good answer to this question in his introduction video. But I think life is very much about looking out for everyone. Life isn't life, the individual, me, you, whoever. It's all of us. And the fact that we can't seem to exist collectively without somewhere in the world there being death, people trying to kill one another for whatever reason, war, the vitriol and nastiness that seems to exist in our society at the moment is not life. It's anti-life as far as I can tell. So without getting into too big a philosophical discussion or too big a semi-political discussion, that's broadly my definition. Life is all, and not just human life, all life. So whether it's plants, animals, us, everything from the smallest bacteria and microbe right up to the biggest mammal, the blue whale, whatever it is, that's life. 4. It's radio beginning. What is your favourite memory in your experience as a listener to radio? Well, the Hitchhiker's Guide started out as a radio play, and I think probably my earliest memory of listening to radio was when I was going to school, and my mum used to have the radio on in the mornings as we were kind of getting, having breakfast and getting ready to go to the bus stop to catch the bus. And we always used to have to leave if we heard the pips, which is, for those who don't know what the pips are, is a time signal, and it's normally on the hour. But the pips used to signal that we were running late by that point. If we got to the pips, we were running late. So we had to leave before the pips to get to the bus stop in time to catch the bus. And normally in the mornings, this would have been BBC Radio 2. That period was a switch over between the DJ Ray Moore and DJ Terry Wogan, both in their time fairly famous, probably less so now, I guess. But that's my kind of one of my favorite memories. And a lot of songs that were played around that time. So this is the kind of early to late 70s. And, they're some of the songs that are kind of stuck in my head from that time. So yeah, that's probably one of my favourite experiences. I listen to the radio a lot, I have to say, and you know, that's something that still sticks there. Number 5, the towel. What book or books would you pack for a holiday? So the towel, as I think Gareth explained in his video, is the one thing that the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy says that you should always carry with you on your travels. But in terms of books, I don't tend to go away a lot, but when I do, I normally take whatever current book I'm reading, as long as it's not a huge, great big, heavy hardback. So whatever current book I'm reading, and my Kindle, and then I will probably pick up books while I'm away. Either if I'm flying, well, I haven't flown for years, but in the airport or the ferry terminal or whatever. And then depending on where I'm going, while I'm away, I will always go into a bookshop if I see one when I'm on holiday. Even more so if it's a kind of second-hand bookshop. So yeah, that's kind of what I take. So whatever I'm currently reading, plus my Kindle, and then pick up stuff while I'm there. Number 6, the Infinite Improbability Drive. Name a fast read. That's easy. Any of the Maigret novels. They're all sub 200 pages. Most are around kind of like 175 pages or so. There's 75 of them, plus some short stories. They're all good. There isn't a bad one. They're all good or very good, in my opinion. So yeah, and you can easily finish a Maigret novel in an evening. So yeah, anything that George Simenon has written about Maigret. Don't panic. Name a book with great levels of tension or suspense. I'm going to name an author and a couple of examples. And again, no surprise if you've been here on the channel before, you know which author I'm going to talk about, and that's Craig Thomas. So Craig Thomas wrote a lot of Cold War spy techno thrillers in the 80s and 90s. And a couple that I want to mention, The Last Raven and The Bear's Tears. Both of these, and in fact all of them, have he writes suspension, peril, and all of that incredibly well. I mean, to the point where I think when I first read The Last Raven, I realised I was holding my breath. I was reading and I was holding my breath because just of how the book was playing out, and whether these are all they're the Aubrey and Hyde thrillers. So Kenneth Aubrey and Patrick Hyde, and Aubrey is kind of the spy master, and Hyde is the field agent, and some of the things that Hyde gets involved in, other things that the tension is palpable. So yeah, anything by Craig Thomas, but those two in particular. Number 8, TV or film adaptations. Pick a book to discuss one or more TV or film adaptations that you know of the book. Pick a good and bad if it's relevant to the book. Okay, I'm going to pick as the book The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas. Reason for picking this is because there are so many film adaptations and TV adaptations. To be honest, the ones that stand out to me are the BBC TV series, which is just called The Musketeers. It's probably my favourite, probably the best. So it's got Tom Burke. Who else has it got in it? Can't remember. Can't even remember who plays Captain Treville now, because he's relatively famous. But that as a series is just brilliant. And then the kind of there's an Oliver Reed, Michael York version from the 70s, I think, that's okay. It's a bit kind of camp and, playing it there. But obviously, Oliver Reed was obviously playing it or being paid in alcohol. And then there's um, there was there were a couple actually with Oliver Reed. And Michael York, because there's the Four Musketeers, there's the Three Musketeers and the Four Musketeers. I think they were kind of like one back to back, one year and one the next. There's a one from I want to say 90s with Charlie Sheen and Keith Sutherland in. That's quite good. There's one more recent that's got Matthew McFadden in, which is not. It's okay, but it's not very good. But there are loads of adaptations. There's a Douglas Fairbanks adaptation. Yeah, there's loads. Keeps getting remade. But yeah, Three Musketeers, and my favourite adaptation would be The Musketeers, the BBC TV series. That's it. Tag people. Gareth tagged just about everybody on BookTube, I think. But I will have a look and see if he's missed anyone, or if there's anyone I can think of who he didn't tag, and I'll do the usual and tag them in the description box below. But yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that. That was quite good fun. So thank you, Gareth. Thank you to you guys as always for watching, and I will speak to you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.